the Rockford Files. Won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of the Gen X Files. Welcome to the Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today is another
For the Stepdads.
Your newly New Year minted stepdads are here to...
Our very, very cold stepdads.
are here to be awash in the newness of a new year and the new beginnings and the promises of what is to come, baby.
It was appropriate that we bathe the beginning of this new year in fire.
Yeah. Yes. Well, again... yeah, that was horrible.
That was awful. We were fine.
Extremely lucky. Very, very
lucky.
fortunate.
Yeah. We live in a weird place where the wind isn't nearly as bad here as it is other places.
Well,
it's very odd. We've been very lucky.
Extremely, especially with so many people losing their homes. And
yeah.
You know, it's a tragedy.
Anyway, I didn't mean to start this off on talking about... It was just, it's been an interesting month.
It has been. Interesting is a good word to use. But yeah, no, it's been a month. But it's also been a good month. It's been a month of adventure. We watched a lot of adventure movies, starting with The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh, it's so good. It's so weird, but it's so good.
Wherever you go, there you are. One of my favorite quotes of all time.
It is the greatest ending to any movie ever.
Of course. And it's got Clancy Brown. It's got Peter Weller. It's got Ellen Barkin.
So many people.
The Gloobs, as I call him, Jeff Goldblum. The Gloobs.
The Bloobs.
He loves that.
weirdest cowboy costume ever.
He looked good. And then, we got Remo Williams, which was kind of a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a dip, a movie we both loved when we were younger that just, unfortunately, I think with all of the advancements in film, it just doesn't hold up as much.
It had some pacing issues.
But it's a great time capsule of the time, and Fred Willard was awesome. And
Fred Ward.
And Fred Ward and Willard, even though he wasn't
Fred Willard played in him. He was amazing learning ninjutsu or whatever it was.
It's going to be a long goddamn show. So yes, Fred Ward was quite good.
He was very good.
Even though it was extremely iffy,
Joel Grey
did what he did,
I was shocked to find out 40 years after watching that movie that Joel Grey is a white guy and not Korean.
Yeah. And the greatest thing is when they, expanded on the product years later, they cast another white guy as a Korean guy.
Yeah, they tried to make a TV show out of it.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, because sometimes you don't learn from your mistakes.
Oh, wait, was it Malcolm McDowell?
Yeah. No, Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell.
Not Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah, that would have been...
That would have been interesting.
Well, Malcolm McDowell's going to be playing him in the upcoming Amazon series.
Yes.
Just to keep that tradition going. Then we scooted on into The Adventures of Babysitting, which was fun.
It was some family fun. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's one of the lessers of the comedies, but it's still funny today.
But it's good, and really honestly is proof positive that casting a good lead will carry your movie.
Yeah, a lot of this month was kind of driven by charisma.
Yes.
A bit. But that's with a lot of films. The movie that we'll be covering next week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of charisma involved.
Oh, yeah.
Making that movie palatable.
Yes.
Palatable.
Palatable.
And then... he died.
I know.
And then we closed it out with the amazing, just classic film, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, or Baron von Munchausen, as I like to call him.
The title is technically The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
His Christian name is von Munchausen.
Whatever.
And he made a disease, because he always was like, I don't feel well, give me sympathy. And they're like, you're fine, Munchausen. I feel like I'm getting sick just standing next to you, just by proxy.
Yeah. That's exactly how it came out.
Yep.
There's one chapter that you can skip on the movie. Is the part where they explain Munchausen by proxy.
It's in the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
It's very worth seeing.
It is. It is the best explanation of Munchausen and Munchausen by proxy I've ever seen.
The doctor is played by, of course, John Cleese. And he's really funny and very informative.
Yeah. He's very eloquent when talking about how someone's trying to murder you by making you feel sick.
Munchausen by proxy is such a weird effing mental disorder, man.
It's weird.
It is so... I don't have kids.
Yeah.
surprise, big surprise. Because I am a child.
That you know of.
Yes, well, yes, of course, Adam. Probably a bunch of little Jimbos ruining people's
Little
lives.
Jimmy's running around.
All over the country, smoking tons of dope.
Screaming, me, look at me.
And being extremely lazy.
You come over here and look at me. I'm not getting up to you.
Moochhouse by proxy, my wayward children aside.
Right.
It fascinates me. I'm always fascinated because I don't have children. I don't know a ton about kids. I've worked with kids. I have friends with kids. I've been around kids. I was a kid myself.
You have seen kids in person.
I'm aware of children.
Aware they exist.
But having a disease that makes you hurt your child
It's
for
so
your own
weird. For your
attention?
own benefit. Yeah.
That is so bizarre. And wasn't that what Gypsy Rose's mom had?
Yeah.
Was she a Munchausen by proxy?
She was making the daughter think that she had like cancer,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she didn't.
It was very. It was a big plot point in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that's the first time that I really remember it being portrayed.
But it was. I've known about it for a really long time. I mean, even before Baron Munchausen came out.
Yeah.
So it's always been something that really fascinates me. I mean, it's not in a way like, oh, this is really interesting.
No, I should try this out.
Yeah.
This sounds like a good time.
You know me. I'm very obsessed with like serial killers,
Sure, true crime. Yeah.
Because that to me is another fascinating
yeah.
thing. Like how your whole life is about killing people, and you have lead a double life. And some of these guys that are like BTK and that did it forever and had kids and a wife and all sorts of things. I tend to gravitate towards things that I find super weird and wacky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit insensitive to call these things wacky, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's about figuring out more about the human as a person, like the human condition, and like why. Because I'm the same way. Like when it's the weirder crimes, that's what fascinates me.
Right.
Or the people that constantly lie to themselves about stuff.
Yes.
Like one of my absolute favorite stories is the French guy who got fired from his job and then lied to his whole family, extended family, for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And when he was getting close to getting caught, he was in northern part of France with like Switzerland, and he claimed he worked for like the World Health Organization or something like that was based out of Switzerland.
This sounds familiar.
I think I've told you about this before because it is fascinating to me. But he would borrow money from his family members to claim that he could have access to Swiss banks and get like 40% interest and all this stuff. But he would just take the money and spend it because he wasn't working.
It wasn't borrowing money; he was investing.
I mean, technically, that's what he was telling.
That's what they thought he was doing.
And then when he finally had a family member go, "Oh, I decided I want to retire and I'm going to buy a boat, so I need that money back," he'd already spent all the money on this lavish lifestyle. And surprise, a couple days later, that family member fell down some stairs and died. He asked for the money back, and then 2 days later, mysteriously died.
The guy who asked for the money back died.
Oh. Yeah, his uncle. But then he started an affair with an Italian woman and was trying to spend money on her.
Okay.
Like, he was like, I work for this doctor that she was obsessed with. And he's like, I'm going to take you to his house. And they drove around like the Italian or French countryside for like 4 hours. And he was like, I keep getting lost. I don't know. And then when she finally was like, what the hell is going on? He was like, okay, come to the back of the trunk and like, I'll pull the map out and we'll look at it. And he had a electric kettle prod, tried to attack her with it, and she fought him off, and then he convinced her that he was sick, and that's why he attacked her.
People will believe anything, man.
And she went with it, and then it all unraveled. Like, he ended up going to his house and his parents' house in London and killing both of them, plus the family dog. He murdered his wife. He murdered his 2 kids. He set his house on fire, took sleeping pills, and then, of course, the house is on fire. Everyone's dead inside except for him. And firemen show up way too fast, and guess what? He survives. And the first thing he says is, someone broke in and killed everybody and set the house on fire.
Of course.
And he still, to this day, in jail, believes that he didn't do any of this.
Wow.
Like, he lied so much over such a long period of time.
Start to believe it.
It just fascinated me.
Well, you have to think, there are people that are just serial liars. Like, there's a person in charge right now that is that way.
Yes.
And you wonder, do they start to believe their own bullshit?
Oh, they do. They do.
Well, it gets complicated when you add narcissism and other mental disorders in the mix and stew.
Right.
But people will go to whatever lengths to keep the delusion alive on both sides.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to admit that they've been fooled.
Right.
That's why
Right.
con artists can keep conning and conning and conning.
Yeah.
Because they tell people what they want to hear, and the people just want to hear that.
Right.
And they'll go along with it for as long as the con artist wants to go along with it, because they don't want to admit that they were duped. Because people are so stubborn and so afraid of shame and so afraid of being, oh, I'm the dummy. But look, we've all been the dummy. If you haven't been the dummy, then you're an asshole. Because
then you've always been the dummy.
then you're the con artist.
Yeah.
Because, we all... Look, if you were a good person or a caring person, man, I have been duped a lot in this business. And this is by friends, These are people that, I don't feel naive because of these are people that you're supposed to trust.
Right.
But yeah, you learn your lessons pretty quickly. And if you don't, then you're just going to keep getting duped.
Yeah. It's very true.
Sucker born every minute.
But it's fascinating. The human condition fascinates me. Like all of that stuff. I just, how people can justify the actions they have to themselves.
Yeah.
Like it just fascinates me.
There's no better study on the human condition than Adventures in Babysitting. Anthony Rapp. Talk about a condition. But yeah, no, it was a fun, all diseases and such aside.
Yeah.
It was a fun month. We should do a month about the human condition.
We should, we'll find some movies.
Nobody will listen. But we
can find some good movies about that.
No, we definitely can. But yeah, it was a very, very fun month.
It was a very fun month. Adventure movies, obviously some adventure in title only. Adventure movies are fun. If it wasn't for Indiana Jones, like we would be much sadder.
Yeah. My mom would be. That's her favorite movie.
Adventure King. It's the adventure. I just love adventure movies.
Yeah.
We need to go find something. We need to do something. We need to go on an adventure. It's such a fun genre.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's exciting. When done right, it's invigorating. It's a lot of fun to watch. You're right. These movies had various degrees of adventure.
Yes. I don't know how adventuresome taking a bunch of kids into Chicago is.
Well, according to the white people, super adventurous. Because it's dangerous.
Oh, my God, everywhere.
There's non-white, non-suburban knights here.
It's okay. They welcome you in with open arms.
Yeah, especially if you sing horrible blues songs.
They get you to sing awful blues songs.
Because
nobody gets out of here without singing the blues.
That's right, baby. That's right. That's how we do it in our house, too.
Yeah. You can't leave until you sing the blues.
There's like 8 people that have been here for 4 years.
And there's just no one. We don't have any instruments. We just make them sing.
A cappella.
Yeah. If we don't like it, they go back in the closet.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. It's more of like a Israel Keys type of situation than
Oh, no. I will say I'm a little sad that Baron Munchausen, the movie is so good. The tales are so good. I'm a little sad that they slapped his name onto these 2 awful human conditions.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing people know of most is Munchausen and Munchausen by proxy.
Weird. I wonder why they named it
Well, because he was fantastical. I mean,
liar.
Munchausen is you believing things that aren't true.
Well, he was, yes. And the Munchausen from the actual, 1700s was a fantastical liar. And that was the whole thing, is he lied and all these stories were lies. But then were they lies? Yes.
I mean, he pulled himself up by his own ponytail.
Well, everybody's done that, man. Bootstraps, ponytail, we got to pull yourself out of the muck.
Survival book, when you're in quicksand, the first thing they say is, grab yourself by the hair and pull up.
I know this has been said so many times, but what the F, man? Where's all the quicksand we were promised?
Nowhere. It's not. You have a better chance of that happening in, like, grain silos than you do in the actual wilds.
Well, yeah, but it's just so weird. I want to do a show about quicksand because I think we got to find the origin of this quicksand thing. There's so many things. We've talked about pie fights, quicksand. There's so many staples of our youth that are just completely ignored now.
Yeah, no pie fights anymore. That's sad.
We need to do a movie about having pie fights in quicksand.
That's what we need to do, a live show, and the end of every show we do a pie fight.
In quicksand. And whoever... one of us will probably die.
Whoever doesn't die gets to keep going. Yeah.
And we'll have rotating hosts
Yay.
for the other people, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Do you have any good adventure stories?
Killer bees.
No. Well, killer bees are still technically out there.
But they were a much bigger threat when I was
The threat of killer bees was much overblown.
Africanized bees, they kept calling them. Seems a little racist to
Yeah.
me.
I think killer bees is better, but even then they're not still technically. Less people die from killer bees than I do like alligators and stuff.
Well, murder hornets, killer bees, that's a lot to live up to for these poor insects.
They're like, well, I haven't killed anybody in like a year. Like, what am I doing?
I'm just kind of a grumpy bee.
Just crack open another Schlitz and watch some more Jerry Springer, and then
My barbs as a bee are more of the verbal type. I will sting you with my retorts.
Ouch.
Yeah, I miss all that stuff. Now all of the threats are existential and horrifying.
Yeah.
They're not quaint like killer bees or quicksand.
No, now I actually really do feel like we're gonna die. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yay!
I guess there's that.
That's the adventure. Adventures in living.
Adventures of the next 4 years.
I have had a lot of adventures.
Yeah.
So many. I'm very lucky. I am extremely lucky that so much of my life comes down to a tiny little hair between comedy and tragedy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to err on the side of comedy most of the time. But look, man, I've had guns pointed at me in several different countries. I was marched out of Red Square on New Year's Eve in Russia with 2 machine guns in my back, getting taken to prison in Moscow.
Wow.
But I was rescued by... it's a whole long effing... They're all these long stories that I can't get into.
Yeah.
But I could, but hey, I'm not going to do that to the audience. Look, I've had adventures in Russia, in Central America. I snuck over into Guatemala on a bus to see the ruins of Tikal during when we weren't allowed... Americans were allowed to go in there, and we were stopped by gorillas on this bus full of us and chickens and goats. And
Did big gorillas? Like mountainback? Like silverbacks?
Big silverbacks with machine guns, buddy.
Wow. Who gave them machine guns?
But that is the hubris of youth. Like, to me, at the time, I looked at it as like, I'm an adventurous guy. I'm a risk taker or whatever.
Yeah.
Truth is, self-destructive.
Yeah.
And probably not thinking that great. And probably not the best judgment in the world.
Right.
But the luckiest MFer that ever lived.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm not in jail, and thank God there was no social media when I was a kid.
Right.
I would have been canceled 4,000 times, put to death. But, I think back then we had more of an opportunity for adventure.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe today there still is. I don't do as much adventuring as I used to.
Technically, I still go on adventures.
Yeah.
Like, I still, I do enough camping and enough traveling that I still have adventures. I just love those moments when you're able to stop and kind of soak it in and be like, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here right now. This is happening.
My favorite thing was you're in a situation that you think you're going to die.
Yeah.
And it turns into one of the greatest experiences ever. I'll give you a very quick example of that. I was in Belize, and my friend and I wanted to get weed, marijuana, cannabis. And we found this Rastafarian. And he was like, I'm not going to do the accent and all that. I'm just going to talk to him like me because I think it would be inappropriate. As great as my Rastafarian accent is.
Sure.
But so he's like, look, you got to come with me to my farm. That's where the weed is. So we get in his car. It's a stranger. Never met him before. Absolute stranger. In the craziest Cadillac I've ever been in my life, by the way. So we're driving, and my friend, Larry, Laser Tag Larry, he was my traveling buddy.
Yeah.
He's freaking out. He's like, we got to go back. We got to get out of here. And I'm like, nah, man, it's cool. It's fine. We'll be fine, baby. He's a Rastafarian. They don't hurt anybody. And so we're driving deeper and deeper and further away from civilization. And Larry is losing his mind. And I'm trying to be calm, but I'm starting to get a little bit like, maybe this is when the luck runs out.
Yeah.
But we get to this dude's farm. He takes us. It was a mango farm. He takes us in, his wife, his little kids. I've never seen a 3-year-old with a bigger set of dreads in my life. He was the cutest little baby boy ever saw. He picks us mangoes from his tree. He cuts them. He gives it to us. We sit on hammocks and laugh and talk and play with his kids and talk to his wife and talk to him. His friend comes over. The only thing that I will say is this dude had the nastiest, raspiest, most tuberculosis type of cough I've ever heard.
Oh, no.
And when he rolled up that spliff, he was like...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was filleting it. It was like down his throat, and he pulled it out of his butt and put it back in again, and then sopped it up. Well, we smoked it. None of us got sick. We ended up staying there, eating mangoes, smoking dope, drinking beers, and then his wife cooked us dinner.
Nice.
And then afterwards, like 3-4 hours later, he drives us back to the hotel. One of the greatest experiences.
Cool. That sounds really fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That is why sometimes you do need to take risks. Now, I'm
Sure.
not going to say that a good risk is getting into a Cadillac with a drug dealer
No.
in a foreign country.
I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't do that.
No, but you know what's crazy? I've done that in Belize. I've done that in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I've done that. I like pot. But, you know, I'm very, very fortunate. And I miss that. I miss that unpredictability. I miss the I've never been one to like plan a vacation or plan too much. You know, you're going to go here. You know, I want to see this thing. There's things you want to see. But I never like have too much of an itinerary or something that's really planned out because I just want to experience stuff.
Right.
You know, I was in Jamaica. Same kind of thing happened in Jamaica. We go off of the stupid, gross resort we were staying at. We were like Hedonism 2 or some nasty place. So disgusting. We get out of that. We go to Mama Lena's tea house, have a couple of giant shroom cakes. Giant hash cakes washed down with shroom tea, and trip with a bunch of Rastafarians all day.
Nice.
It was the funnest thing. The locals, the people. If you're going to go traveling, you got to get in with the folks, and then they're going to show you the adventure and the good time. You're not going to have a good time in a resort or a hotel or on a tour guide or something. You got to get your own business in there.
Yeah. Locals are always the way to go.
Yes.
I think I talked about it a little bit during one of the shows this month, but the hanging out at the Playboy Mansion on the night I turned 31
Oh, right.
was very fun. I was managing a burlesque troupe, one of the many that I had managed over the years, and one of the other producer had a friend who did like half the bookings for like the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, wow.
Like, because essentially it was just like a party place. You'd rent it out for like $10,000 a night, and then they had a guy who had booked it more than anybody else in the history of the Playboy Mansion. And she happened to know him, so he was like, come in. It's these technically it was 99 guys and one woman, salespeople from Australia that were on vacation, and they had won something through this Australian company.
Oh, okay.
And they're all there, and they hired 50 women to come in and hang out and get drunk. Grotto was bumping. Like, it was super weird. The dancers had fun. We were able to be inside the Playboy Mansion, which was really cool. The guy that hosted it was my friend Jeremy, who a director. He's directed a bunch of horror movies. Who lives in Maine now, of all places. But he had always wanted to go to the Playboy Mansion, so he convinced my producing partner to like, you got to let me host this show, and it was great. It went really well. Everybody loved it, and then we ended up at the Polo Club at like 1 or 2 in the morning at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Nice.
Where they do the Golden Globes, and like just randomly there drinking $100 bottle of champagne. Like, Jeremy was just so excited to be there that he was like, I'm buying things for everybody.
That's
and it was
great.
Like, all right. It was a really fun night. It was a super fun night. It was super weird. And Ron Jeremy was there, which also was weird because I think he just showed up.
He's...
Like,
Both of us have had run-ins with Ron Jeremy.
I've had multiple run-ins.
So have I.
Yeah, it's super weird.
And it's weird that we both have.
It's weird to me to think that I somehow run in the same circles that he does, that I just see him places. Well, I used to. Obviously not anymore.
Well, mine was super random. Both of them are really
yeah.
random. One was at a film festival, and the
Right.
other was... I was tasked with recording
Right. Directing him
lines.
for some voiceover.
Cartoon.
But yeah, it was weird. I mean, not that I never have never talked to him, but it was just weird. He was just there.
He is I don't know. He was a desperately lonely man when I met him. I could not. It took 12 hours for him to show up.
Yeah.
12 hours late.
Right.
And It didn't take us very long to do what we had to do, but then he was just like, do you want me to play? Do you want to hear me play the harmonica? And then he would play the harmonica, and I'll sing you a little song. What are you doing? Yeah, hang out for a little bit? It's strange. He sounds exactly like Geraldo Rivera.
Wow.
But yeah, he was a very desperate, lonely man.
He had some issues.
Although I will say it was very funny. We recorded the lines off of a phone in his car. And we parked in a cul-de-sac. I think I've told this before. And this woman walked by, and it was the first time I'd seen a quadruple take.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, I'm surprised she didn't get whiplash. And he kind of chuckled, and he's like, she probably thinks we're lovers. I'm like, well, yeah, that or drug dealer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you say the lines and let's get out of here?
Yeah.
Let me play you my harmonica.
Sure, lovers, yes, lovers.
Lovers. Have you seen my movie?
Oh, he's such a
Yeah.
sad, tragic story.
Well, I mean, tragic, but you get your, he's a predator, man. So
No, I don't disagree.
Tragic for everybody who met him, apparently. I don't know. I've spent way too much time delving into the brain of Ron Jeremy, and now I feel gross.
So we've got a new documentary coming out called
Listen to our Ron Jeremy year. We're going to do 12 months of Ron Jeremy.
It's a new documentary
1
podcast.
month for every inch of his penis.
Oh.
Oh, look, it's probably the most anybody's talked about Ron Jeremy this year.
Probably.
Probably the most anybody will talk unless he dies.
Well, yeah, that's very possible.
Yes. Well, you had your adventures with Ron Jeremy, and I had my adventures in Russia, and we've had an adventurous life.
I mean, I've had plenty. Like, there was a party I went to. Like, when you think about, like, Hollywood, like, how Hollywood depicts, like, house parties, where it's just, like, shoulder to shoulder and packed in. That's happened to me once.
Yeah.
And I went to a party, again, it was with some burlesque dancers that I knew. And we showed up, and there were 3 white people there, and they all came with me. And it was one of the weirdest nights of my life.
Nice.
It was super fun, but, like, I have never felt more out of place, but not more welcomed.
Sure.
Like, it was really great, but it was literally like walking into a movie scene of, like, this is actually happening.
It's really good to be in those positions sometimes, because then you know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
When I was a bartender, at the Mondrian, they hosted this African American fashion show thing, and I was, the only bartender. There's no bar back or anything, and I had a line out the door, and I remember this woman was like, "Come on, get it moving, Sambo!" And the dude looks at her, and he's like, "First of all, Sambo." He's like, this poor guy is the only guy here. And the dude ended up tipping me like $50.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And everybody was really cool about it. But it was like, holy shit. We can't empathize because we haven't been in that position.
Right.
And when you're in that position, you know how uncomfortable it can be. Not uncomfortable because, oh my God, I'm the only white person.
No.
But, it doesn't matter if you're in a group of army people and you're not the army person or a fire. I've had that with firefighters, hanging out with firefighters.
Yeah.
I've never felt less like the most least masculine I've ever felt in my entire life was a night of drinking with, serious forest firefighting firefighters.
Right.
Oh, my God. Drank me under the table. The next day took me up in a Huey helicopter to try to get me to puke. I love these guys. But, it's
awesome.
just, it's always good to get out of, I guess what I'm trying to say in a very inelegant way is it's always good to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's always good to expose yourself to new people and new things and try belly dancing class or try, Korean cooking or whatever it is. Go someplace that you've never been. Go to Brazil and stay in the city.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like immerse yourself in
totally.
the culture and immerse yourself with people that you normally wouldn't, because it's going to expand your worldview and you're going to find something that maybe you didn't know that you liked about yourself or liked about whatever. I mean,
or you might die.
Hey, it's worth the risk, baby.
I told myself when I first moved out to LA, coming up on almost 20 years now, I told myself that when someone would ask me to do something and my initial instinct was no, that I would say yes.
Right.
Because I wanted to do new things. I wanted to explore new things.
That's how you became a male prostitute.
And that is why
one of the best.
I am slowly dying of syphilis.
Yeah. You want to try some butt stuff?
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess.
Yes. Only if it's unprotected.
No, I don't have syphilis.
Thanks for clearing that up. Not yet.
No. Wow, thanks. But yeah, anyway, it's been fun. Try new things, do new stuff. It's fun. You never know. You might meet some amazing people. You'll have memories to share forever.
Or you'll have a crap time, but you won't
or
know
you'll
unless
die.
You try it. Yeah.
You never know until it happens.
You know, it's easier just to kind of stay home and do what you want to do, but sometimes you got to get out. And,
Got to get out there.
But once you hit a certain age, don't even worry about it. Just
It's
do what you
harder.
wanna
It's
do.
much harder for me to say yes now to things. I will
Don't
say
yes-
that.
Say yes to nothing.
I know. I know. I'm aware.
No.
So, what about movies? What have you been watching?
Not a lot, man.
Yeah.
I have not watched a lot of
Well,
movies.
there's been a lot of stuff going on this month. It's hard to focus sometimes when the whole entire world's burning down around you.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively. Let's see. We watched that robot movie.
The Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot.
Animated movie that came out. It was just released on Peacock this month. It's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Lupita Nyong'o is the star.
She's so good.
Very good. I really enjoyed the movie. It doesn't make me happy to say this, but the only thing I really didn't like about it was Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I disagree.
I didn't think
he was fine.
He's just flat and flavorless, and
He didn't sound like himself at all.
he didn't have. Look, he's a great actor, but there's a difference. And we have a voice acting friend that will attest to this. There's a big difference between voice acting and acting, and not
Yeah.
everybody can do both.
Right.
And just because you get a celebrity in there doesn't mean they're going to do a great job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he did a horrible job,
He was fine.
but it was a big part, and it could have had a better actor, a better voice actor.
He wasn't memorable enough in it that it literally could have been anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it was fine. He was serviceable for the movie.
Sure. He was fine. But the movie itself was really fun.
It's
really enjoyed
really
it.
good. The animation style was really amazing. The art design was really good. It's a good story. One of the best character growths I've ever seen in a movie with the robot, and
Yeah.
and that really all goes to Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
She did such an amazing job.
An incredible performance.
Yeah. I didn't even realize it was her until like 2/3 of the way through the movie, and then I was looking up cast members, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god!" Like
Yeah, you got Matt Berry playing a beaver. It's great stuff. He's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. It's on Peacock. Highly recommend it. It's a good Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon movie. Just chill, hang out.
If you got kids, good thing to watch with your kids.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah. And then we watched that, the newest Twilight movie. Came out, 2 years ago?
Twilight?
No, what is it?
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. Sorry, I get those two mixed
Hunger
up
Games
all the
movie.
time.
Phoebe is a huge Hunger Games fan, and it's like on her rotation of like comfort movies. But we had actually, I think that was until recently the last movie I saw in the theater was that the Songbird or whatever the hell it was, the new one, the
Right.
one that's set beforehand.
Songbird Roses.
Songbird.
Lubby-dubby-doo.
Yeah, something.
When did that come out? Was that last year?
Yeah, it was last summer, I believe. It was good. It was fine. Like I really enjoyed it. Phoebe got it on Blu-ray for Christmas, so we watched that again. She had just finished reading the book,
Nice.
which I do want to read, and also found out while we were watching it that there is another book coming out that's set like 25 years before the first movie or first book.
Okay.
And then they're already going to do the movie, so the movie's happening.
All right. Yeah, those are. I had a friend that lent me those books years ago. I think about the time the first movie was coming out, and they're fun. Look, man, Harry Potter books, those books, they're all fun. They talk about adventures.
Yeah, exactly. They're really good.
Yeah, they are fun, and the movie was fine. It was good. It was good.
It was done well. I think the new one is going to be about the oh god, I can't think of his name. The dude, White Men Can't Jump guy from Cheers.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Haggis or Haggard?
Angus or Haggis or something like that. Yeah. I think it's going to be about him during the 50th Hunger
Hagrid?
Games. Not Hagrid, no. But Woody Harrelson, it's about his character when he
Was in the games?
Was in the games
Okay.
as like a 17-year-old. So I mean, it's not going to focus on like the first prequel focused on Snow and his rise to power, and then and the early games. And this one, I think, is focusing on the mentors and like how they became mentors and stuff like that.
Are they going to de-age Woody Harrelson? And
I really hope not.
I hope so. That would be awesome.
That would be weird.
I love him.
I
so
don't
much.
think that Woody Harrelson would agree to that.
I don't know.
He'd be like, eh.
Depends on how high he is.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't. I think in his mind it wouldn't look right, and he would just be like, whatever.
He's so funny.
But he's great.
He and Ted Danson have a podcast now.
Oh, do they?
It's pretty funny because basically Ted Danson has a podcast that Woody Harrelson shows up when he wants to co-host it.
Nice.
But they've had like George went on.
Oh, nice.
Cheers, folks. And
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that.
I think it's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That's cool. I love Ted Danson. He's great.
Well, it's also fun to see those two together.
Yeah.
And talking about Cheers. And it's great when they have their Cheers buddies on.
Yeah. This is the funny thing is that, so now watching The Wild Robot, we've officially watched at least one movie that was nominated for an Oscar.
Okay.
That is, they released the Oscar nominations, and of the 9 movies that were set for Best Picture, there were like 3 of them I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Nora is supposed to be really good, but
What?
like, that's a movie that got nominated for Best Picture.
Nora?
Nora.
Nora. Is it about one Nora?
No, it's all one word.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what it is. I don't even know what the movie's about. I've heard it's okay, but then other people have said it's crap. So I don't know.
We're going to get into this later when we talk about video games, but I don't listen to anybody anymore because it is so confusing to me why people don't like things.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
They're being very disingenuous as to why they don't like stuff.
Yes. And then they try to couch it in something else, but you know where it's coming from. And it's just complete bullshit. And it's driving me crazy. And you know what, jerks? We're not going to have any more video games. We're going to not have any more movies or whatever because people are going to stop making them because they're not making any money because you guys are being jerks.
We'll talk about it more when we talk about movies, but or with video games. But because I like all the stuff you're talking about. I don't hear any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I've curated my algorithms so deeply that like I don't hear any of this. Like I don't hear the hate.
Well, I don't necessarily hear it either, but I do watch, like video game clips and stuff on YouTube, game ranks and different things. But sometimes out of curiosity, I'll listen to some streamer talk about a game that I want to play or going to play. And then, then it's like this schadenfreude that we're living in now where everything is awash in schadenfreude. Right. And that's kind of the philosophy of America is I'm really happy when you're not happy.
Ugh.
And it's gross.
Barf.
And it has consequences, and a lot of studios are shutting down. We're going to get to it, but I don't think I watched any other movies.
I watched Back in Action, new Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz.
Right, good to see Cameron Diaz back in action.
Yeah,
see what they did there.
And really, honestly, good to see Jamie Foxx back in action.
Yes, because he almost died.
Yeah.
Did he have a stroke? Did we ever find out what it was?
I think it was a stroke. Yeah. I think he finally came out. There was some stand-up special he did where he talked about it, and I did not watch that, but I think he cleared the air about what happened. I think he's very happy to be alive.
Well, yeah, I would be too if I were Jamie Foxx.
It was a fun movie. The dialogue's not great. The action sequences were done really well. Mm-hmm. It's a little ridiculous that this couple, after 15 years, somehow still remembers how to do all this stuff.
Sure. Muscle memory, Adam.
But I used to be a professional baseball player 15 years ago, and I can't hit a ball at all anymore. So,
what team did you play for?
The Expos.
Nice.
Montreal.
Oh, so you're from Canada. You're from...
No, I mean, I played for them. I'm not from there.
Yeah. Adam, we put a statue up in Canada as for your greatness in playing the baseball and for eating the most back bacon of any baseball player in Montreal.
This movie did something that annoys me more than anything else. It opens up, and this is no spoilers, but it opens up saying 15 years ago, and then it shows them like working a thing and deciding, because the whole concept is they're CIA like spies, and they decide, she finds out she's pregnant, and then they decide they're just going to give up the life. There's an action sequence that happens, and everyone thinks they're dead, so they just go off and live in suburbia and have kids. But then I was like, okay, why did you have to say 15 years ago? Because the movie literally just started. All we had to do was get a subscript later saying 15 years later.
Yeah.
Instead, they said 15 years ago, and then at the end of that sequence, they go present day.
Yeah.
and I wanted to turn it off.
Because it's redundant?
It is redundant and stupid and does not make any sense. And that's pretty much sums up that entire movie.
Wow, you turned on that movie quickly, bud.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch, but like go into it with a grain of salt because it's another one of those Netflix movies that could have been really, really good, but was just kind of blah.
Yeah, the one Netflix movie that I've seen recently that I really liked was Rebel Ridge, and that's kind of the only one.
Yeah. But that was I couldn't even tell you who directed this movie. I'm sure it's probably somebody I know, but like Rebel Ridge is a very Jeremy Saulnier is just an amazing director.
Very interesting guy.
And Netflix does have a lot of like Mike the guy who does all the
Mike Flanagan?
Mike Flanagan. Like they've got good creative people working there. But this movie was fine. I'm sure
Duffer Brothers.
If we had watched it for like a movie night, like we all would have been entertained.
Yeah.
But now that it's done, I'm never going to think about it again.
Right. Well, that's one in one ear out the other movie. It's just kind of unforgettable. Yeah, I started watching it. I got a couple of. I didn't even get to present day.
Yeah.
I just got to, and I'm like, I don't know.
Well, that was the other thing. It was like 15 years ago, and then they show Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx, and I don't know if they tried to de-age them computer-wise, but like they looked like they were 45.
Yeah.
And I was like, so in present day, they're going to be in their 60s?
Yeah.
Like it didn't make any sense.
No. I think they're both my age, actually.
I think they are. I think they're in their 50s.
I know he is. I know he and I are pretty close.
She might be kind of between the two of us, but it just the whole thing. It's like the filmmakers didn't understand the fact that we've seen Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz when they were in their 20s.
Right.
It's like we know what they look like.
Yes.
Just maybe don't point it out.
Or
Maybe not even have the little sign that says 15 years ago. Just start the movie and let it go. Like, we'll understand that time has passed when suddenly there is a 15-year-old child in your house.
Adam, people aren't as smart as you.
God, I just want to murder everyone.
That's true. Wow.
Sorry, I just, that stuff annoys me. It's inefficient and stupid.
Okay.
Otherwise, the movie's fun.
Just close your eyes when the crayons come up, and then you won't be crying about the crayons.
The chirons?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Crayons, chirons, coupons. They're all the same thing.
We did also watch a movie that I have been keeping an eye on for a while. I was able to find a copy of it. It's called Hostile Dimensions.
Right, yeah.
It's a British movie that was released in Britain last year, I think in September. I think it still is getting a release out here. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. But the trailer for it was incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, it was absolutely incredible about these people that find a door that when you open it, it goes into another world.
Yeah.
And you close the door and open it back up, and it's a different world.
Sure.
Literally the sitcom from the 80s, A Different World. But it's interesting. It was really interesting of a concept. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the movie?
I think it was a great concept, poorly executed.
Yeah.
I liked the effects. I liked the way it looked. I liked the kind of liminal thing. It looked a lot like that Kane Pixels guy. That kind of, the creepiness of spaces that look familiar, but they're just slightly different.
Yeah. Things seem weird. Yeah.
The acting wasn't great. The script wasn't great. The execution wasn't great. The bad guy was not great.
Oh, yeah, no.
The ultimate explanation was thin and not very interesting.
Was there an explanation?
Mm-hmm. See, exactly.
I barely remember.
It was that giant yellow god that was
who was the cat? Yeah.
The dog.
Sorry, dog.
But he wasn't the dog. Those were two different gods. That's the whole thing.
But do we know that?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Because, yes, one was destructive and one was creative, and so they went with the creative god rather than the destructive god. But, yeah, I did not hate it, but it's big swing and a miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, it had some pacing issues, and it's one of those, the trailer promised a lot, and it just didn't quite get there.
Falls into a lot of the tropes of indie movies, which are not great actors.
Yeah.
Not a
super
great script.
And they tried to make it found footage, or essentially found footage, like kind of first person found footage.
Well, this is what drives me effing nuts now, okay?
Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody who's going to be making a found footage movie from now on.
Right.
Everybody knows how to hold a camera now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to film stuff now.
Yeah.
Nobody's a shaky little palsy maniac.
No,
that doesn't happen anymore.
My phone literally will not allow me to do that. It will correct it.
So stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Make a found footage movie. And this was even more egregious because this was a found footage.
Yeah.
This was a found footage. Had a bigger booty. This was a found footage movie made by filmmakers.
Yeah.
One of them was a DP, a director of photography.
Yeah.
Said right there on the little poster when
Hey,
they were having their...
Just because you're a DP doesn't mean you're a good DP. My piece of advice for people that are filmmakers are going to make a found footage movie:
Don't.
Just don't. Set up cameras and lights and shoot it like a movie.
Hey, look, I will say that found footage works really well with this liminal stuff. I think it's more interesting because it gives it, like the Kane Pixel stuff. That's
If you want to see it done well, do the Kane Pixel
Yes.
stuff. That guy is genius and does it very well.
KanePixels.
Yeah.
Look him up on YouTube. He does really cool.
Huge long backrooms thing he's doing, and then now he's got some new stuff coming out there, and that whole thing in the mall. Like, it was all done really well.
Very creepy. Very well done. This, just unfortunately,
Yeah.
they had the concept. The effects were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's, there was nobody to root for, really. There was nobody very likable. They were all kind of,
I think one of my biggest complaints about it was that I felt like every time they went through the door, there needed to be a like similar effect of like how they go through and hit the other thing. Because a lot of times they did it where it was just like, well, we're going in and it's dark, and then we're just going to essentially fade up on whatever we're at.
Right.
And it's like, add a sound effect, add a visual effect, or something that ties it all together.
And the motivation of one of the characters towards the end to do what they did was stupid.
It didn't make any sense.
No sense. It was just written.
It's just
because
like, well,
it needed
this,
to be.
this is what the script says, so I just have to do it.
Well, we need that's what I hate too. Is plot points.
Yeah.
Rather than story.
Yeah.
Rather than motivation or real character development. It's, well, we need this to happen, so this character is going to inexplicably do this.
Right.
And again, if you have a chance to see it, check it out because it is interesting. And we need to definitely keep giving our money to independents.
Yeah. I want to support the indie scene because I don't know what they spent on this. I don't know, I mean, it doesn't seem like they spent a lot, but it was an interesting concept. And
the actors weren't bad.
Yeah.
But it was your same kind of indie acting, which is fairly flat.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stakes, even though there should be so many stakes with this.
Yeah.
They just got so cavalier with this whole...
Oh, I know. It was like, at one point, they realized they need to, like, keep the door shut because, oh, surprise, things can come through the door to our world. And so they keep it shut. And then a couple days later, we're just going to sleep on a couch next to it. It's fine. Who cares?
Things come out. But there were some cool things in there. The panda thing was cool. But they needed more of that and less of this villain that...
It didn't really make sense.
And the explanation of him making the doors and all that, it was just, okay.
It didn't really, none of it. It was very thin, and it needed to have a couple of rewrites before they actually made something.
And I think they didn't know how to end it. And with movies like this, it's difficult to end them.
Yeah.
And I think they just kind of copped out.
Yeah. It felt like they were trying to do a little bit of... oh shit! What's that that indie time travel movie? Primer. They were trying to do like a Primer type thing.
Yeah.
Primer's so overly complicated, but amazing, and is keeps your attention.
Right.
But like I felt like they were kind of trying to go that way, and then it just didn't. They didn't have the wherewithal to actually do that, and
They
then
didn't have interesting enough characters that you wanted to follow them through this adventure.
Yeah.
These two filmmakers were just kind of blah.
Yeah, there was no real anything driving them.
No.
Like, it just was kind of, and again, had pacing issues.
Yeah.
But it was because there was no real urgency to anything.
And then my mom, and it was, there was some really cool, creepy crap, but they definitely zigged when they should have zagged.
Right. But regardless, when it comes out, it'll eventually be out on some streaming service or available for rent. We recommend it and check it out.
Yes, we do.
Talk it down for so long. It's an interesting... I mean, you might really like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I being filmmakers, we have a tendency to pick this stuff apart more.
Yeah, especially indie filmmakers. And also fans of liminal space, fans of string theory, fans of, multiple dimensions.
Those kind of weird sci-fi, like kind of
not
weird.
multiverse crap. I'm done with that. I'm getting sick of multiverse.
Yeah.
But
well, I think that's kind of worn its welcome out.
Yeah. Well, it's just such a cop-out. It's like everybody realized that if we have a multiverse, we can do anything.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
ever... And that also means nothing matters.
Right.
Because, well, who cares? If somebody can die and come back,
Yeah.
well, then what are the stakes?
Well, welcome to comic books.
Well, that's true. I love comic books. I mean, that makes sense in that scenario.
Yes, I agree.
Comic books I do not include in that kind of thing because they're supposed to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of comic books, let's go to TV since
Sure.
we didn't watch a ton of movies.
Yeah.
One thing that I know that we both watched were Creature Commandos.
Yes. Technically, I still have about 10 minutes left of the season to watch.
The most important 10 minutes of the show.
I know. But it is from
Go
James.
watch it. Come
James Gunn. Yeah. I debated on it. It's from James Gunn. It's his the first thing. I mean, beyond the movie that he did and then Peacemaker. This was the first thing that's really in for his DC universe that he's now shepherding. Although he is doing Superman coming up, the new Superman movie.
Yeah. So Suicide Squad.
His Suicide Squad.
Right.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Squad.
Which was great.
Which was fantastic. And then the offshoot of that being Peacemaker,
Mm-hmm.
the TV show. And then now Creature Commandos is being part of his universe, his DC universe.
Right.
And then obviously the upcoming Superman thing.
Superman.
But this actually is tied in because Steve Agee is in it,
Mm-hmm.
who is in Peacemaker, playing himself, or not, playing his character.
Yeah. Well, he's the right-hand man for Amanda Waller.
Yeah, but it just is nice to see that connecting together and like doing it. And I will say, James Gunn is a brilliant writer.
Yeah.
Like everything that Hostile Dimensions tried to do, he is so good at storytelling.
Yes.
He is so good at keeping your interest during a short amount of time. Like, is so good.
Well, he's very good at humanizing these crazy characters.
Yeah.
What he did with the Weasel is remarkable. He made the Weasel
yeah.
into such a tragic character.
So many of them. Like
They're all tragic characters.
They're all so incredibly tragic, but done so well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, God, I don't know how many, at least once an episode, I'll be like, oh my God. Like, it's just so sad.
Well, he does such a good job of over the top but grounded.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah.
David Harbour
playing
Eric Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He's so good, and it's
So
such a
good.
weird character, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because he is a romantic and
Yeah.
he is a dreamer.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really understand. It's done so well.
The sequences of him chasing around the bride were so good. His tongue hanging out, just like, I need to get you. It was so good. And it's 7 episodes, and each one is essentially a backstory of one of the characters.
Yeah.
Well, except I don't think the first episode is, but they're done so well. Like, there's so much history to be mined with these. I am so excited about the new Superman movie.
Yeah, it just looks like we're getting back to fun, like what comics were. I was so glad to see the dog in it because we've done Batman. We've done the tortured Dark Knight, gloomy Gus, sad sacks, superhero movies to death.
Yeah.
We're done with them. We don't need them to be like that.
That is not Superman.
Well, that is not DC either.
Yeah,
DC is more light than Marvel, I think. I mean, it's goofier, I think.
Yeah,
at least back in the day.
But they DC generally reserves all that like introspective, gloomy bullshit for Batman.
Sure, because it fits.
And the rest of them aren't. And like that's the whole key to the entire DC universe is that he's that weird, little stepbrother that just won't get out of his room.
Batman's the sad orphan, and Superman's the happy orphan.
When you try to take those character traits and put them on all the DC characters, you end up with crap.
Well, I think that the greatest thing about having James Gunn take over the DC universe is that he's a fan.
Yes.
He loves these comics. And he loves the more obscure.
Yeah.
And I know everybody was looking at Nathan Fillion as the, one of the Green Lantern guys. They were like, what's going on? But you look at, he's absolutely 100% comic accurate.
Oh, yeah.
The hairdo, all of it.
Awful haircut.
And he's not a good guy either, if I remember correctly.
No, he's not. He's a bad character.
So it's so great to have somebody in charge that loves this stuff and wants to do it justice.
Well, this is the same thing with The Mandalorian and Jon Favreau and how he's He loves it so much.
Florini, or what is his name? Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
And Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, who they both just love Star Wars so much, and that comes through in the stuff they're producing.
These guys, when they were kids, could never dream that they would be helming the things that they love so much.
Right.
It would be like me getting to be the editor of Mad Magazine or Bugs Bunny. Right. It would be the biggest dream to ever come true. And if I were given those keys, I would do everything I could to shepherd these projects and make them and put my reverence into them because I love them so much. I would make sure that I was doing them justice. And I think he is the perfect person for this because he's got such a great imagination. Ever since the beginning, his first films were, Super.
Oh, yeah, Super.
Slither.
Really yeah.
I know you didn't like Slither, but I love Slither.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I need to watch it again.
We'll do an early gun month, and the when he wrote the Day of the Dead or whatever.
Oh yeah, Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
The Dawn of the Dead. That is a brilliant script.
And the guy also, he puts his buddies in his movies. Greg Henry is in Creature Commandos. Greg Henry's been in every one of his movies. He's the guy. He was in Slither. I think he played like the mayor or something. But he's always in his movies. Yeah. Not as a big part of it. He's a great character actor.
Well, it's just like in his brother's in everything.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion's in everything.
And it's because they're good.
Yeah.
They're good at what they do.
And he also is loyal to his pals.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that they're very talented and that they're very good at stuff. But
putting his brother in Guardians of the Galaxy and all that, people were like, what? But he proved himself to be fine. In this day and age, people take stuff so effing seriously.
Yeah.
Fandom is toxic in a lot of areas, and it gets very toxic when it comes to comic books or sci-fi or that kind of thing because that's their religion for some people.
Yeah,
some people are so invested in this that it gets to the root of their fight or flight,
Right.
That's why you get so many gross comments and everything. So to have somebody who's really going to take the time and the care to create this universe, this intricate universe, and make everything work, I think we're in for such a treat. It's the opposite of the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Which is just this bloated, soulless, heartless, collection of images and stills.
Yeah. It's just things like it's candy for your eyeballs.
Exactly.
And it means nothing.
All style, no substance.
Exactly.
And Gunn's got style and substance.
He's very good at that stuff.
You know a Gunn movie when you see it, like we were talking about, a certain, with
Terry
Gilliam.
Yeah. He is one of those people. Yeah, that you definitely know is the second you see something, it's like, okay, that's James Gunn.
So definitely check out Creature Commandos. It's a really fun series.
I had put it off for a long time, and man, I binged almost all of it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's only 7 episodes. They're all like 22, 23 minutes. Like, you can easily get through it in a night.
You're lucky, because I started one. I'd wait
I know.
week.
I think I specifically was waiting for them to stop. Which it's only 7 episodes. I think it ended at January 9th was the last episode that came out. But it did get renewed for a second season.
Yes.
So we're going to see more.
I think even before they released it, they decided to renew it. They were so pleased. But yeah, honestly, I kind of like waiting for stuff again. Because I jam through stuff so quickly.
Yeah.
Like that, what was that Keira Knightley show?
Black Doves. Great show.
But I was up until 2 a.m. jamming through that.
Right.
For my health, I need him to come out weekly.
I don't mind the weekly stuff depending on the show. I think in this case with the animated stuff I'd like, although I do that with the Invincible. I mean, I always do that. But that's the same like Silo. I did that. I definitely did that because I had to watch the episode. Yeah. Otherwise things would end up getting spoiled.
I did that with the new Ted Danson show, the new Mike Shore.
Oh yeah.
The
Man Inside.
Yes.
Or Man on the Inside.
Yes, whatever. Yes.
I still haven't watched it yet, but yeah.
Oh, you'll love it. It's really good.
But Silo, the ending, that second season ending of Silo, this is like the 3rd month in a row I've told you have to watch this show.
Yes.
The ending of the first season, the last like 5 minutes, was so revelatory and so interesting.
Ooh.
And then the second season was dealing with all of that. And then the last 5 minutes of the second season, takes it in such places that I never thought it would do.
Interesting.
It was so fascinating.
Oh, the places we will go.
I am so, and the fact that I know that they're going to do a third and fourth season and then it's done,
Yeah.
like it actually has a trajectory,
A plan.
Like I am so excited to see where this show goes.
I love it when they know exactly how they're going to end the show and what they're going to do. I'm really looking forward to watching Silo. I did start watching it when it first came out.
Yeah. I would recommend rewatching those episodes.
I will. I think I only watched one.
Okay.
Because I vaguely remember, wasn't Anne from Parks and Rec in it?
Yeah.
Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones.
And then she like dies in the first 5 minutes or something.
She's
Or gets expelled. I'm sure she comes back. Yeah. And in a bit. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
That show is going to go places you're not expecting.
Well, it's also something, it's like Baldur's Gate or something where it takes me a little bit to get into it, but I have a feeling that once I get into it, I'm going to jam through all of it.
It's well worth it. Well worth it. And I agree. I think the beginning is a little slow and it's a little weird.
Yeah.
And but once you're able to get to the actual main character of the show and then follow along with her, it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. But the same thing, like the weekly thing, I'm doing the same thing with Severance now that Severance has come back. And as of our recording right now, the first 2 episodes of the second season have come out, and that show, I am getting obsessed with it like I was with Lost.
Yeah.
Like I joined a subreddit, I keep looking up things.
Nice.
Like it is such a fascinating show.
I can't decide whether I'm going to rewatch the first season of Severance before I watch the second season, which would be good because that would give me a little cushion so I could get a few episodes in the reserve.
That's what I did. I ended up watching the first season again. It's only 9 episodes.
Did you find it helpful?
I did. I really did. Because it's been a while, and there were some things I definitely forgot about. Whether or not they're important for this next upcoming season, I don't know. But like, there's definitely stuff that I had forgotten.
All right. Yeah, I think I will. I think I will rewatch that.
It's so good. God, it's so good. But I'm literally starting to become obsessed with the show.
Really?
Yes. Like I wrote, when Lost was on, I don't think a lot of people know this, but I wrote for a couple websites.
Oh, wow.
Like I was studying that show. And I love that show. I absolutely love that show. It did fall into the problems of they didn't really know how they wanted to end it.
Yeah.
Despite the fact they kept claiming they had an ending. I was like, well, if that's the case, then you should have only made it 4 seasons because there was a couple seasons that were kind of filler.
Right.
And not bad, but like just didn't. Like they didn't know, like ABC just kept going, we need more. And it's like, well, the story's going to get thin. Like, but I still love it. And I still think it's brilliant.
I need to do a rewatch of that.
That's something that Phoebe and I have been talking about for a long time because she's never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's such an important part of your life.
I know. It's like every time we're like, hey, we should start this. And I was like, it's such a huge undertaking. I mean, because it's like 112 episodes or something. Like it's, but it is something that we're going to watch eventually.
It's a good thing for you guys to watch at lunch.
Yeah.
You can get through it in a year.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. Severance, highly recommend it.
Good.
I am Apple TV Plus is becoming one of my favorite streamers.
Nice.
Also, and I don't remember if I talked about this before or not, one of the greatest features ever on any streaming service. If you're watching Apple TV Plus and you rewind it, even if it's for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they put the subtitles on for 10 seconds. Because they assume if you're rewinding it, you miss some dialogue.
Damn, that is smart.
It is so brilliant. So brilliant.
Yeah, you can learn a few things. Paramount Plus.
Hulu. I know.
It's horrible infrastructure.
The first time it happened, I was like, oh my God, that is so incredibly genius.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's because it's true. Most of the time when I'm going back, it's because they'll say something and then suddenly they're talking about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
And I have to go back and be like, I just want to hear that again. And it's like, okay, now you know exactly what they're saying.
Well, and strangely enough, too, a lot of these sound systems, the sound needs to catch up.
Yeah.
At least with mine, my sound bar, the first couple of seconds, you usually mute while it's figuring it out.
Yeah.
But
it's good stuff. Is there anything else that you watched?
Well, sometimes at the beginning of the year, I need to pick me up.
Yeah.
You know? And you can tell how depressed I am by what I'm binging.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I'm binging, something new or whatever, I'm doing okay. I might just be a little bit sad. It's bad. The worst, the bottom of the scale is if I'm doing Magnum or Rockford.
Yeah.
you know I'm hurting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Right before that are are the sitcoms.
Right. Right.
And I've got like 3 or 4 staples that I've rewatched a few times.
Yeah.
And so I needed it. I needed a boost. So I binge watched the entire Parks and Rec in like a week.
Wow. Yeah.
I had it on the back. I didn't.
I mean, it's not. Yeah. Yeah.
It's 7 seasons. It's a little embarrassing, but my God, man,
Such a brilliant show.
it is such a brilliant show. And what I love about the show that makes it different from The Office, and because I love the ones that I'll watch are the big staples are The Office and 30 Rock and Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Also, Newhart and those older shows, those will come around at some point. I loved watching the Newhart show. But these are the ones I'll come back to because it's like old friends. And they're just such brilliant shows on their own. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is kind of getting into that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the Andre Braugher thing makes it hard for me to make that a cheer-up show.
Yeah.
Because it makes me sad. But the thing that I love about Parks and Rec that is different from these other shows is it is not a cringe show.
Yeah.
Leslie Knope is not a cringe character. She's not Michael Scott. She is the epitome of exuberance and cheerleading and positivity and giving and service and everything that you wish every government employee would be.
Right.
To have this attitude of let's make the world a better place.
Right.
Let's
right.
make parks and make it beautiful. And let's
Right.
make all of our friends happy. I mean, her obsession is just making people happy. And watching that show from beginning to end in a shorter setting, so much pays off
Oh yeah.
from the beginning. Because in the first season, Tom starts talking about Tommy's Bistro.
Right. Right.
And then he ends up getting Tommy's Bistro at the end.
Right.
And where all the characters come from, they never lose their edge. They never turn April into this sweet,
Right. Right.
She's always, even when she's like, I love you, then she has to say, I want to murder you and cut your eyes. She's never betrays who they are.
Right.
They may have growth. Ron
Sure.
has growth. By the end of the show, Retta points out that he listens to people and he helps his friends and he's got a wife and kids and
Right.
He's much different than he was at the beginning, but at the core he's still the same.
Still that grumpy man.
But their core values,
Right.
They all. The thing about the characters on the show is they all have really good core values.
Yeah.
They may be kooks and crazy and have their things going on, but the bottom line is they all love each other and they all want to do good.
Yeah.
And seeing government people who all they want to do is
Right.
do good and help people is such a nice, refreshing change from the reality of today.
Yeah, I feel like when people get sworn in, they should be sent into a room and made to sit and watch Parks and Rec for a week.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a refreshing change of pace, and I miss those sitcoms. I like Abbott Elementary. I think it's a really good show. I've been watching St. Dennis
Medical.
I love Covey. What's her name? From Goldberg's, the mom.
Oh,
Wendy McCoven Covey Kalubi
Wendy
Kalabi.
Covey, yeah, something like that.
Anyway, she's Reno 911, the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
As a fan, I should know her name. I'm a piece of shit. But she's really good. The woman that was in the first season of the Fargo TV show, she stars in it. She's really good. David Alan Grier, who is one of my absolute favorites in the world. I will watch him in anything. He is perfect in this part.
Yeah.
So it's a fun show. It's a good show. But there's no Office. Like, I think that the closest thing we're getting to that right now is probably Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
It's the kind of breakout show of the last few years.
Yeah, I would agree.
And deservedly so.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Very well done. I watched the crossover with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm like, how the hell are they going to do that?
Right.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant the way they did it. But going back and watching these shows, I really wish more shows just had that heart.
Yeah.
It's impossible. They had a perfect cast. They cast that thing so well. It is so nice to like Chris Pratt again.
Yeah.
To see dumb, fat, goofy Chris Pratt. when he was likable.
Right.
Before he had to do every animated movie. He's so goddamn good at that. But every single one of those people, and down to the ancillary characters like Elsom Jam,
Jim Jam, or whatever.
Yeah, they're so fleshed out.
Beavers. Purd is my favorite character.
Oh yeah.
You heard? With Bird.
These are the words that I'm going to say, and I'm saying these words right now.
It's such a brilliant conceit.
Jane Cosmato, the lady that does the interviews, who's just a train wreck. Amazing actor.
So good.
So good. And it really rejuvenates me in a way that other things don't. I'm a very superficial weirdo.
Yeah.
So this kind of is a rebirth in a way, or like a cleansing of the new year for me to kind of deal with my feelings because I can't afford therapy. So it's, my big thing that I watched this month on TV was Parks and Rec.
Nice. Well, that's good. What about video games? You been playing any video games?
I did. Picked up Dragon Age Veilguard on sale over the holidays and played that, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge Dragon Age fan. I have Inquisition, but I probably played the other ones, but I don't really remember. I don't remember.
Origins is one of them. Origins.
Yeah, Dragon Age. I think that was the first one.
I think I played a little bit of that. Yeah.
I don't remember much of my PS2, PS3, Xbox gaming time.
Yeah.
I think I was drinking a little bit too much back then. Smoking too much.
It's like a lot of movies at the beginning of the pandemic.
Exactly.
I don't remember.
Oh, it's just like watching something new again. But yeah, so I'm not a big, diehard fan of the franchise.
Yeah.
But this game was extremely polished.
Mm-hmm.
I had no glitches or blips or blops or crashes. It's really well put together. The menus, everything, are really nice presentation.
Nice.
I really enjoy the combat. It was different. It was fun, the way that you can use your companions and control them. It was kind of a hybrid between action and strategy.
Yeah.
I like the characters. I love RPGs where a big chunk of it is getting to know your pals.
Right.
And having a home base where you can kind of get to know them and you do their side quests. And the side quests for the companions were as big as the game.
Wow.
In some respects, you know, and interesting. Very diverse, interesting group of folks. Was it perfect? Of course not.
Yeah.
But it was a great AAA game. It's exactly what AAA games need to be, in my opinion.
Right.
Which is polished, put together.
Yeah.
The graphics were beautiful. The sets, the
art design.
The art design was really interesting. And yes, some of the dialogue was a little flat.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff didn't work, 100%. But nothing that took me out of the game.
Right.
Nothing that I thought, oh, this is stupid. I liked it. And I would give it like an 8.5, maybe 9.
Nice.
Regardless of whatever negatives there were to it, the positives to me completely
overshadowed
it. And I jammed through the game. I platinumed it, which I've only done like 3 different games.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't even know.
Just suddenly it happened.
But it's also one of those games where you trophy it naturally. It's not like, well, you got to do nightmare mode 6 times with your pants off.
You got to search for all this stuff. I got to find 1,000 pieces of gold.
And I hate that stuff. And there were, there weren't a lot of like collectibles and stuff, but there was still enough, for you to go off the beaten path and, find some gear and stuff. It wasn't completely open world. It was more hubs, which was manageable and I liked.
That's good, yeah.
I find it unfortunate in today's climate that good games that a lot of people will like, and look, it's all subjective. Art is subjective.
Sure.
Your favorite game is somebody's least favorite game.
Yeah. My least favorite game is certainly somebody's favorite game.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. That's why we hate awards for art. We hate all this stuff because it's silly.
Yeah.
It's not.
You can't dictate what somebody should like or not like.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like taste tests. I don't know.
It's like I don't get mad at somebody because they don't like mushrooms. It's like they just don't like mushrooms. Okay.
Right, and I don't get mad at mushrooms for having a new kind of mushroom that I don't like. And so I'm going to hate all mushrooms, and all mushrooms need to go to hell.
Yeah.
But that's the climate we're in. There's this toxic fandom in the things that I love.
Right.
Whether it's
right.
Star Wars or Marvel or video games, television, sci-fi, all of these things unfortunately come with a certain group of people that are very vocal.
Yeah.
And
very vocal.
Very petty and very silly. And there seems to be this notion by a certain group of folks that everything should be geared towards them.
Right.
And if a character, you shouldn't even have the option of having pronouns and all this garbage that to me is like, just shut the F up and enjoy the game. Everybody should be able to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to see themselves in the game. And especially in a character creator, you should be able to create whatever representation of yourself that you want.
Are there dragons in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so somebody has an issue with, let's say, trans people in the game.
Right.
But they're cool with dragons.
Sure.
Yeah.
As long as the dragons
Do you understand the
trans?
absurdity of that?
Yes,
I do. It's so dumb.
I do.
It is so dumb.
And I found, and it's a character that's non-binary. One of your, spoiler alert, and it's not that big of a spoiler, but one of your companions is going through this. Look, it's a video game. It's not, therapy.
Right.
It's not a textbook. But it is one of the more nuanced representations of that story that I've seen in a video game. And I found it interesting.
That's interesting.
And it wasn't the way that I played it. That poor character just got screwed left and right. That's so sad.
Those people exist.
Exactly. And the human condition is the human condition.
Yeah.
And if you are butthurt and bent out of shape because something is in the game that you don't understand and it skills you, so you gotta be mad at it, then don't play the goddamn game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And keep your mouth shut. Because there's somebody that's going to absolutely love it. If you're going to criticize a game on its merits, on its story, on its graphics,
sure.
And
sure.
I 100% will give people the story problems that they have with it and the dialogue. And there is some, they do have a bit of the Marvel type of dialogue, the kind of cutesy thing. Which I don't hate at this point.
Right.
It's still fine with me.
Right.
And, I didn't find it annoying and cringy a couple of times, sure, but that's just, at 100+ hours of playing something, it's not going to be perfect.
No, of course not.
But it bums me out that this game didn't do better. It bums me out that the people that reviewed this game positively, there was a woman at IGN that did, and a couple other places, they were attacked mercilessly.
Right.
It's saying, they're corporate shells, and this just proves that they're being paid. And it's like, no, dude, I wasn't paid. Nobody's giving me a penny.
Yeah,
and I'd give that game an 8.5 or 9.
Yeah.
I loved it. It got me. I liked it so much that I'm playing, sort of, Dragon Age Inquisition. I picked that up for $5.
Right.
And it's really interesting because a lot of the characters that are kind of ancillary in Veilguard are like the main characters in Inquisition. So, it's fun.
That's cool, yeah.
But again, I really enjoyed the game. It grabbed me. It was very fun. I've realized that I am really, really good at creating characters.
Nice.
If you want a really cool looking character, come to me. I'll help you in the character creation.
Right.
But I'm really good at it. They're so handsome. They're all idealized versions of me. So at the end, it just really depresses me.
Yeah.
Because, whatever. But I had a blast with that game. I fully recommend it. It's a bummer that it didn't do well and that BioWare is in trouble because they make Mass Effect. And that game...
They make good games.
Great games.
Yeah.
And if we're getting to the point where every major studio is so anemic that it's one hit or miss away from closing, it's dangerous, man.
Yeah, this is going to kill the industry. And at the end of the day, then we're not going to have any games.
No, and we're finally getting out of this live service garbage.
So glad about that.
To switch gears to our next game, one of the games that we got for free was that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
We got that for PS Plus this month.
It's still available for download another few days. I couldn't even bring myself to play it.
I tried it. I did the opening. I hated it. I thought it was really stupid. Is it a horrible game? I don't know. I mean, the movement was fine or whatever, but it just seemed It's just snarky. And talk about bad dialogue and unlikable characters and bullshit. That's what this was. I didn't even make it past the opening before I deleted it.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to give it a shot because I love the company. The Batman Arkham trilogy,
Rocksteady, yeah,
is brilliant.
It's so good.
Those games hold up today. Good. They're still great today.
Still, yeah, they still look great, even though most of them are 10 years old.
And they were forced into make this live service garbage.
Yeah,
and they don't know how to make live service,
right?
So it was, it was doomed to fail to begin with.
Yeah.
Their idea of the Joker, it's insane. It's insane what they did. I don't know what it is. It's like all of a sudden Alan Cumming is the Joker.
Right.
And Alan Cumming without any sort of talent.
No.
Because Alan Cumming could be the Joker.
Yeah.
He's a very talented guy.
He's a very talented guy. Yeah.
But anyway, that was really bad. And, that's probably going to shut down.
I mean, BioWare's in trouble.
BioWare's in trouble.
Rocksteady's in trouble. Like, they're all, It's all because these bigger, Warner Brothers or EA buys up all these companies and then says, make this thing. And it's like, well, we don't know how to do that. It's like, we'll make it anyway. And then it fails. And then they're like, well, your studio's done. Like, you didn't provide us with profit margins, so you're done.
Or you have Microsoft, who is just buying up every company after the pandemic, thinking that, this is going to last forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just the monopolization of the market. I mean, it's just, everything's going that way. I mean, we've got, I think it's 3 supermarket chains that own like 98% of the supermarkets now.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have different names. Like, I got into a huge argument with somebody about the prices of eggs like a month ago. And it was a Ralph's, our Ralph's up the street, it was charging $13.39 for an 18-pack of eggs.
Insane.
And someone had posted something about eggs being $7.99 and it was a Kroger. And I go, the Ralph's up the street from me is now this much. And the guy was like, we're talking about Kroger. And I was like, do you not understand that Kroger literally owns everything? They own Ralph's. They own everything.
Yeah.
They own Safeway. They own all these different... And, he could not get through his head that somehow Kroger was this giant company that owned all these supermarket chains.
Wow, people don't pay attention, man.
I had to literally block him because I was like, I can't talk to somebody this stupid anymore.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's so funny because you look at companies like Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen their prices go up that much.
No, the eggs. That's the funny thing. Started going there for eggs. They were $2.99 for a dozen, and when everybody else started shooting up to $9 for, as far as I know, right now there's $3.50. They want it 50 cents.
What have you been playing?
One of the other free games we got is something that I've been wanting to play for a long, long time. Never pulled the trigger on it. It was the Stanley Parable, which is literally just a walking simulator, but you're in. It has some of the best voiceover. The guy who does the narration for the game is so brilliant.
Stanley walked through the left door.
Yeah, and then if you don't, he's like, "Oh, I guess Stanley's doing his own thing today." It's so brilliant. And I got the first time I played through it, I got one of the worst, scariest endings.
Oh wow!
And then it starts over. And it's like you just do it over and over and over and just trying to find new things. That game goes so deep. The storytelling is so deep and so interesting.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Very liminal, that liminal kind of thing. Because you wake up, you fall asleep at your desk, you wake up and everyone's gone. And it's like, well, okay, well then what am I doing? And you technically, the character can't hear the narration, but he kind of can sometimes. It's weird. It's obviously he's talking to you. But, anyway, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating game. I need to play more of it. I just got so freaked out by the ending I had that I was like... And I played it for 40 minutes. Yeah. And then I was like, what is going on in this game? It was so bizarre, but so interesting.
I'm excited to play it.
You should totally. It's so good.
It's... I need to get back into some indies. I haven't been hitting my indie stride. Let's talk about Diablo 4 for a minute. Just a minute. Diablo 4, I was having fun. Mm-hmm. But it's a live service RPG. Yeah. And I cannot stand live service stuff. I wish that game wasn't always online. I wish there was a way that you could just cut all that crap off and just play the story.
Right.
Just play it. Because I got fed up. I had played it for a while. And I was enjoying it. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a doom loop, It's just you go out, you do a thing, you manage your gear, you get better gear, you sell the gear.
Right.
It's kind of a job.
Yeah.
But it's a fun job.
Yeah.
And then they had some update with some new season thing. And then you got to create a new character for the season.
What?
For some reason, you can't put your character in the new season.
What?
And yeah, which was ridiculous.
That's dumb.
And then I interacted with this thing, and then it shot me up to level 50 and changed all my special things
all
around.
your
And I'm
settings,
just like, screw it. There's no way to go back.
That's so dumb.
There's no save that I could go back to that I know of. I don't.
Right.
I think it's all just kind of automatic. So it just put a really bad taste in my mouth, and I'm like, I'll eventually get back to it because it is a very beautiful game.
Yeah, it looks really good. The art design's so good in that game.
All of the stuff that I hate is in that game. All of the live service bullshit. I just want to play an RPG.
I don't want to do any share unless I know the person. If I can go out, eventually I want to get Baldur's Gate 3 because you can have 4 people playing and play together, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But there's more control over it.
Well, it is not. Baldur's Gate is a RPG.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any of that bullshit.
No, I know. But I mean, I'm just saying is that to me is more appealing than like someone randomly popping into my game and then I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on.
Adventuring with your friends is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Their Payday 3 is coming.
Yes,
free.
they just announced the new games today.
I'm looking forward. We'll try that out. We'll do a heist
I'm excited
together.
to try that. I've been wanting to try Payday 3, Payday in general, the franchise. I heard Payday 2 is very good.
It's pretty. I mean, it's fine. I played it. It's a lot of that live service crap.
Yeah.
But
I'll definitely give it a shot.
We should eat Payday candy bars while we play. Payday.
Little hundreds of tiny little Payday candy bars. Yeah, look at me! I'm winning, Jim! I'm winning.
But yeah, I mean, adventuring with your friends looks fun, and I think you can do that in Diablo. I'm not sure. I think you can.
Probably.
But it's just so complicated, and I do not like playing something where I don't have control over my character, or over my game, over what I'm doing.
It's like I want to get immersed in the story, and then suddenly this stuff is just like, nope.
I also do not like waiting in a queue to start my game.
No, that is ridiculous.
And granted, it wasn't a problem until the update, where
yeah.
more people were playing or whatever,
Right.
and the server was overdone.
That's so dumb.
So
it's so dumb.
So that I deleted it. Put it aside for a while.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot later after I calm down. But after that, because we got all these games, you bought a bunch of games. You buy 2, get 1 free.
A bunch of sales during Christmas.
So we have all these games laying around. So I picked up the Avatar.
Avatar, the Pandora game.
Tales of Pandora. Or
Game of Pandora.
Frontiers of Pandora or something.
Pandora Express.
Much like the Avatar movies, it's beautiful and extremely forgettable. I have no idea really what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I like the combat. It's very just Far Cry Pandora, which I am totally fine with. I love the Far Cry games.
Franchise is amazing.
That's my jam. I love the loop of that, of taking over.
Good. Hey, there's a base. Let's snipe everybody.
Exactly.
Take it over.
It's a little harder to be sneaky in this one. For now, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, you're only a 12-foot tall blue alien.
Right. Exactly. But, it's like, I don't know. But the action stuff I really enjoy. It's just a lot of the missions are, find me a mushroom and and I'll make you something. And then it's really not intuitive where this shit is.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like you just have to find a fruit. You have to find a pristine fruit or an excellent fruit. And that's really hard to find because it's somewhere special. So that kind of stuff I hate.
Yeah.
It's just busy work. I hate busy work.
Right.
So I'm a little down on some of the side missions. I haven't been playing it that long.
Yeah.
I just now was able to do the weird wiener in the wiener thing.
It's not a wiener.
They're not wieners?
Nope, they're not wieners.
Okay. So I did the wiener thing with the flying dragon thing.
Oh, yeah. So
now,
you bonded with it or whatever. Yeah.
So I can fly or whatever, which is fun. Again, beautiful game. The way that they make Pandora, the flowers that floop, floop, floop.
Yeah,
you could run through them. The floop, floop, floop. Nice. They do that. Really well done. I think it suffers from what so many of the Ubisoft games suffer from, which is bloat.
Yeah.
And just pointless,
busy
work missions. We need to stop that.
I agree. Speaking of bloat, I've been playing mostly Horizon Forbidden West.
Nice.
And it is a little overwhelming, but it doesn't feel unmanageable.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, there's still hundreds of side quests and things and like all this stuff. But this playthrough, because I played it for a while and stopped because I was just like, okay, I can't. Like, it's just too much. But the story has grabbed me this time. It helped that I went and played through the PS5 upgrade of the first game,
right,
of Zero Dawn. But this one is interesting. The story's been interesting enough. Like, I like where it's gone. I've gotten probably a third of the way through the game so far. And I like where it's going. I'm curious to see. Like, now I'm just at the point where it's like, I just want to, not that I want to get to the end, but I want to know what the end is.
Cool.
Like, I need to know how the story is wrapping up.
Yeah. I think the problem I had with it was I was too far away from the first one.
Yeah.
And
highly recommend playing through. Just jam through the first game.
Yeah.
And then just jump straight into the second game. And it's good. And it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous game. It's done so well.
Really, really pretty. Have you hit the Vegas part yet?
I'm almost there.
Once you get the lights on in Vegas, woof.
I've just been, it's like been enough where like I'm still trying to focus on story. I think it was part of the problem I had the first time is that I was trying to be completist about everything.
Yep.
And it's like I just want to, I got to the point a couple days ago where I was like, oh, okay, I'm at level 30 and this story mission is level 18. So I should probably start doing the story and like, you know, or more of the story.
Yeah.
Although I will say the game definitely has had some glitches.
Oh.
There was a guy who I had to there's a lot of times where you follow people. It's not my favorite thing. But this guy ends up walking into some stairs and like just is in the stairs. And I was like, the mission was I had to follow him to wherever he was going, and he couldn't go anywhere. So that was it. I like left and did a bunch of other stuff, and then eventually, when I came back, he had reset to his original place.
Oh, good.
And this was like 2 weeks ago when I did this. And by that point, I had gone, and then there was dialogue of him talking about story stuff that I did. He was like, "Oh, you've grown a lot since," because I started the mission and then left and came back. But he was like, "Oh, you've done so much since I last saw you," and I was like, "Oh,
that's cool.
Okay,
I like that.
That's interesting." You know, I mean, talking about stuff that you have to do, like story stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because like part of me was like, man, I wonder because you get the option of playing like there's these 3 functions you have to find that are spread out around the world and around the map. And you can literally do them in any order. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So, like, part of me is like, I kind of wish I did the harder stuff first to see what some of the dialogue choices are. Because I'm sure there are pages of dialogue that nobody ever hears.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fascinating.
Well, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, same.
Yeah.
There's like whole
story
so
much.
You can miss.
But, and there's been a couple times where people clip into things, like some of the robot animals like will clip into something, and it's like, well, I have to kill that guy, and he's inside a mountain, and I can't actually hit him.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so I'll like leave or restart, and then it and then it fixes itself. But it's happened a couple times, which I've been surprised because for the most part, it's fine.
Well, it's such a huge game.
Yeah.
These things are insane. These games. God, man, I was thinking that from Atari to now, is so insane. Like I could have never thought of these giant open world games, and games like No Man's Sky, which just did a new update that added billions of solar systems.
Wow!
Oh, we also finished Skeleton Crew. It was great.
Skeleton Crew is very good. It was very good. It was done very well. It was a very good show.
Very Spielbergy. Very 80s.
It was nice to see an actual real villain. Yeah. Like I kept thinking, I was like, oh, they're gonna make him like have a heart of gold, and they didn't.
No, it was cool, and it was an adventure show. And
it was
a great adventure.
It was a very fun adventure show,
and it was fun for kids, and it was Goonies in space, and I really liked it.
It was done really well.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's it. I think we've been chatting long enough.
Good Lord.
We've been chatting for like 14 hours.
Good God.
Longest podcast ever. But anyway, we'll be back next month. We're going to be covering some sweet candy.
Oh, sweet candy.
It's February, so it's time for some sweet candy.
And the sweetest candy of all, John Candy, is the focus. And we're doing more of his lovey movies or less of his zany movies.
His earlier kind of it's he's playing real people.
He's playing sweet candy.
Yeah.
He's very sweet in Summer Rental.
He's very good in that.
And then The Great Outdoors with the wonderful Dan Aykroyd. Very fun.
Such a good movie.
And then what I think is his probably most underrated movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, so we'll find out. Only the Lonely.
I have never seen it, so I'm curious to see it.
I hope you like it.
Me too.
I always get nervous when we watch things that you haven't seen that I like.
I'm sure I love John Candy, so I'm sure I will.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I'm hoping it holds up to my memories.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we'll see you next week.
Yeah, babies. So watch the Wild Robot from Wildlands. What's it called? Wild Robot?
The Wild Robot.
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos is
Cannot
great.
go wrong. Parks and Rec if you're looking for some nostalgia. And Dragon Age Veilguard. It's been on sale pretty consistently. Get it for $30.
Yeah.
If you like RPGs, I think you'll enjoy it. And if you have played it, I would love to hear what you think. And I also want to know why. Like, I am a sucker. I tend to want to like things, and I will err on the side of liking at this point in my life. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Get in the car, kids. We're going on an adventure.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, I mean, but, you know,
Wow.
it's like, you know, I think you don't realize what it's, you know, I think a lot of times. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Fantasy Island, already in progress.